Newcastle United take a point in the 6-goal thriller against Manchester City at the weekend, but with bad news for Callum Wilson, who has picked up a hamstring injury. And with just over 1 week left of the transfer window, it is being reported that Newcastle have agreed a £30 million fee for the Watford striker João Pedro, but it's also being reported that Everton are trying to hijack the deal. Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Toon Tuesday, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news. This is a series that I've been running for a few years now, and we go through the most up-to-date Newcastle news every Tuesday. And before we get started, I know loads of you guys are watching this video every week but still haven't hit that big red subscribe button. So if that's you, please do. It really helps the channel. We're on the daily upload right now, and with just over a week left of the transfer window, I will be keeping you completely up to date with everything going on. So hit that subscribe button. It helps me, and it means you guys do not miss any future videos. Right then, we'll start things off with the Manchester City game at the weekend. 3-3 in the end. What a game. 6-goal thriller and a great point for Newcastle against the champions. Had you offered me a point in the morning, I would have ripped your arm off, to be honest. I was stood in the pub before the game started. I had people saying it was going to be 4-0 Man City, 5-1 Man City. I suppose they got the number of goals right with 5-1, but I said I was hoping we could scrape through with a point. We did more than that. We didn't scrape through. We held the game for around 50 to 60 minutes. We looked really good, really impressed, and we were winning 3-1 at one point, you know. So a really good game. So many positives to take away from that one. And you just got to think, if we can play like that every game this season, you know, what can we go and do this season? And that does bring us on to the transfers and what can we try and add in the next week. So we'll come back to that in a minute. But we can't rest yet because Newcastle play again. Tomorrow night we play in the League Cup against Tranmere. League 2 side. We are hoping we are going to go ahead and win that game. But our record in the Cups hasn't been great over the last few years, so I'm not going to say too much on that one, but I feel like we are a different side now. As much as I might still be living in the world of 2 or 3 years ago where I'm nervous going into every single game that we play, the players don't seem that way. You know, Eddie Howe doesn't seem that way. We didn't show fear against Manchester City at the weekend, so we really shouldn't be showing it tomorrow night. Eddie Howe has done his press conference. He has spoken about the game. It is tomorrow, 7:45, Wednesday night, and it is on Sky. So we'll have to see what we can do. Eddie Howe said in his press conference, with regard to winning a trophy at Newcastle, it's one of my dreams. If we can be the first team to win a trophy in a long time, the players will have their place in Newcastle history. And Eddie Howe has spoken about cup games previously, about the idea or the hope of trying to win a cup with Newcastle. It's crazy because we mainly talk about where can we get in the league, can we reach here, can we reach there. I think it's because we've not had a cup run in so long. Everyone's forgotten about it. So I would love to see us go out there, win tomorrow night, and see what we can do. And then at the weekend, we've got another game. We play Wolves away at the weekend, so that's still a little bit down the road. I won't go into that just yet, but plenty of games going on. And it won't be easy with a couple of injuries popping up. Specifically in that Manchester City game, Callum Wilson was taken off with a potential hamstring injury. Now, this is one we've spoken about a lot. That's why we're in the window. That's why we're trying to bring in a striker. Because as much as you don't want to tempt anything, there's always that risk with that man, Callum Wilson, that he could get injured. And Eddie Howe came out and said that he hopes it is not too serious. And he also says, I don't think it will be too serious. So fingers crossed, Eddie, that it's not too serious. But with hamstrings, you've got to be very careful, and we will wait. We will see the results, and we will see how long he'll be out. So here's praying that he'll be back in time for this weekend, or if not, very soon after that. As I say, Eddie Howe's obviously taking him off the pitch as a precaution, but at the same time, we don't want it to be anything more than that. To add to that, Fraser injured his groin in the warm-up during the Man City game, and Dan Burn took I think it was Trippier, was it? Smacked the ball straight at his head. Has got a concussion after the game, so I'm really hoping that he's feeling better as well. Obviously, Tranmere tomorrow, you would have expected that Wood would have started against Callum Wilson anyway, that Lascelles would have started instead of Dan Burn anyway. But, you know, with the season coming up, the games are coming thick and fast. I'm wishing a speedy recovery to Dan Burn, obviously, for that one. Hopefully, Ryan Fraser's okay, and hopefully Callum Wilson will be back very soon as well. Now then, for a bit of news off the field, we saw Newcastle wear their new 4th kit against Brighton the other week, where we drew 0-0, and really that kit was created as a warm-up kit, maybe even a bit of a collector's item, because it has the Tyne Bridge, the Millennium Bridge, St James's Park on there. Well, if you want the matching jumper, that is now available. I say a jumper, the quarter zip, is now available on the Newcastle website. I think it looks alright. It's obviously quite plain. It doesn't have all of the images on there, but it is the colour to match. There is so much training gear and tops available this season. It's absolutely mad. It means you've got plenty of choice. It means if you want to buy all of them, it's probably going to cost you a couple of quid. But if you weren't able to get hold of the new 4th kit, there is a little bit of a rumour going around that it is going to be re-released, but to my delight, without the Fun 88 on the front. Now, I've seen 2 different versions of this. One is without Fun 88 on it at all, which I don't think will be the case. I have seen a few lucky people order them from Castore who just have forgotten to put Fun 88 on the front. Maybe that's just your best bet now. Order it online. Don't go to the shop. Order it online and just pray that they get it wrong, because they've got that many wrong. You could get lucky and not even get Fun 88 on. But, and I saw an image of this the other day, but I couldn't find it before I started this video, so hopefully I'll try. It's plain, but it just has a little Fun 88 up in the corner, which I think looks way better, because it means you can actually see what's on the front of the shirt. I was very disappointed with the massive Fun 88 that actually blocks off St James's Park, so we'll have to wait and see on that, but more shirts coming out every week. There is a huge selection. Now then, moving on to the women's team, Newcastle United women's team. Huge news for this one, as Newcastle United women are now officially, for the first time in history, under the ownership of Newcastle United. Newcastle United women's were not actually part of Newcastle United. Things are changing, and it's not just Newcastle, it's loads of different teams. Women's teams are really starting to get the recognition they deserve. And over the last few years, and I won't go too much into this, but obviously previous ownerships, etc., didn't take an interest in that side of things, actually didn't take an interest in some of the youth and stuff like that, whereas the new owners, we know especially Amanda, is very, very keen on working closer with Newcastle Women's. And as I say, officially for the first time in history, they now fall under the umbrella of Newcastle United. And it's great news. No doubt the owners are going to really be pushing that one, and they've already made a start, because the women's have got their own new shirt. There's so many shirts. The women's team have the same style of shirt, but they have their own sponsor going into this season. It is Straight Line NE North East Limited, construction company based in the North East. I think 40 years they've been going now. So great to see that they're going out there and getting their own sponsorships as well. So huge news for Newcastle United women's. And then some more off the field news. Saint Max popped up in the Metro Centre over the weekend. He did a pop-up shop. It is for his board game, Helios. I have actually played the game before. It's interesting. If I had to explain what it's like easily, I would say it's a mix between poker and Uno. Uno because you get numbered cards, you get special cards. Like, it's not... So, for example, instead of pick up 2, pick up 4, it's take the best card from that opponent. Give your worst card to that opponent. So I won't go into it too much, but generally it's kind of put cards down, but it's with a little bit more tactic to it, because you want to give your worst cards to the players who look like they're winning. Yeah, it's interesting, but anyway, he did a pop-up shop in the Metro Centre where he promoted his new game, where he sold some of his new games. People could get signatures. And then he went on one better than that and went into the Metro Centre and started buying gifts for everyone who turned up, for the kids who were there. I'm sure they were in Toys R Us or some sort of toy shop buying the kids treats. So there you go. Big up Saint Max. And not only that, he went on to discuss Helios as a brand. It's not just a board game, it's something that he wants to set up. He wants to have a building in Newcastle where people can visit, can play the game, but that it'll have a gym, that it'll have a sports area. He's trying to, for something that started off as a board game, he's really trying to build it up as a brand. What can it be? And good for him. You know, good for him. He's not just supporting the football. And by the way, he was amazing against Manchester City. He's also trying to promote the city and give back to the city as well, which I absolutely love to see. And while we're on the topic of Saint Max, it's reported that he's looking for a new contract as well. To be honest, after how good he was against Manchester City, I'm willing to listen. He did sign a new 6-year deal just in 2020. It was a 6-year deal that he signed in 2020, so will he get a new one that quick? I don't know, but if he plays like that every week, I've got no problem giving it to him. Now then, on to transfers, and the big one is João Pedro, the Watford striker that Newcastle have been linked with over the last few weeks. And it's been reported as of last night that Newcastle have agreed the £30 million fee for the striker, as reported by Fabrizio Romano, and he himself is a Watford fan. So you'd like to think he'll get this one right, but it doesn't seem like it's all done just yet. Sky Sports are reporting that things are getting ever closer, but the deal is not done just yet. I'm also hearing that the fee of 30 million that Fabrizio Romano is reporting, it's understood that the agreement is there, the 30 million is there, but it's how it's going to be paid. It's a £25 million fee with a £5 million add-on. But is that 25 million all up front? Or is it some now? Is it some later? So generally, there's reports saying that the agreement is there, the 30 million bid is there, and that Watford have said yes to it. But then there's still a little bit of confusion over what's kind of going on. Now, hopefully, it is going to be announced very soon, and we can all move on to hopefully another transfer target. But things are just never easy, are they? Because it's now being reported that Everton are trying to hijack the deal, are willing to put up the same amount of money, 30 million, as Newcastle, but knowing Everton will probably offer to double the amount of money they're giving him in wages, to be honest. And I think a lot of this is coming out that Chelsea are prepared to pay as much as 60 million for Anthony Gordon. Has the world gone completely mad? I mean, I cannot see Everton turning down that kind of money. I believe that Gordon wants to go. And as I say, with just over a week left of the window, they're going to have to turn their sights somewhere else to bring in a replacement. In steps João Pedro. So, for me, he's better off going to Newcastle. Am I not right? This is the team that are heading in the right direction, not for relegation. And he's going to be playing alongside Bruno and Joe Linton, two Brazilian players. Bruno in the Brazilian national side. Surely, or I'm hoping the pair of them can have a word. I'm hoping that what Fabrizio Romano has said is correct. And that in his eyes, it's a here we go, the deal is done. We just need to watch out what happens next. And I'm also hearing that he could be in Newcastle as soon as potentially tomorrow or the day after. And I'm hoping those are the reports that are correct. And all this Everton stuff was just a bit of background noise. And we'll get over that very soon. But yeah, so there's conflicting reports. There's some good stuff coming out. And there's also some not so good. I'm hoping the deal is agreed and that we can just get this through quickly before anything else can get in the way. If you guys have enjoyed this week of Toon Tuesdays, be sure to get down, hit subscribe. If you're still watching at this point in the video and you haven't hit the big red button, please do, because as I say, it really helps. Daily uploads at the minute, and as we approach the transfer deadline, I have no doubt there is going to be a couple of surprises along the way, so be sure to subscribe. Do not miss when I post a video. Get those notifications on. It will let you know when I post, when I do it. In fairness, I always try and post around the same time every day, 4, 5 o'clock. So head over to the channel and take a look. And as I say, drop a like if you have enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on João Pedro down below. Let me know your predictions ahead of the cup game tomorrow night. I'll be back tomorrow daytime with my pre-match chat. And then I'll be back tomorrow night with the instant reactions and hopefully with a smile as we make it through this round of the cup. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Then I'll catch you later.